What's up, shawties? It's Ashley Hardy. Thank you so much for coming back another week. Let's chit chat, okay? This week we're going to be talking about postpartum. If you are new here, I am a mom of three and I am currently 10 months postpartum. I cannot believe it. Like, my baby will be 1 year old in 2 months. Who told him to grow up so fast? Goodness. But I'm grateful. I am so grateful. I want to share my postpartum journey this time around. Every pregnancy and postpartum season has been different for me. And there is a lot that has changed, a lot that I have learned, specifically with us going through this fearless journey. May 3rd, 2025, my baby boy Bryce entered this crazy world. And life hit us fast. His birth was quick, simple, grateful for that. But the reality of some health issues, possibly, and just all that could come with a birth hit us fast. He did end up having to stay in the NICU for a few extra days, and that was a very traumatic situation. And I'm just so grateful God heard our prayers and he ended up being healthy and able to come home soon. In that season, in that quick moment, we were in a very fearful state and things got crazy, okay? But May is a month full of birthdays, okay? Because all of my children were born in May. So my son Bryce born May 3rd, then my middle son is May 16th. So literally a week or so after having Bryce, we then was celebrating Chase's birthday. He had turned 6, and then, literally a week or so later, we were celebrating my oldest daughter's birthday, Eden. She was turning 9. So, yeah, we got a lot going on in May. Okay. So right after that, we're getting ready for the summer and we were out here. We were traveling, having fun outside, and Bryce was right with us, okay? Being that this is my third time around, I did not have any doubts or, was cautious about being out and about with a newborn so soon. Actually, we did that with all of our children. That is one perk of having children right before the summer or in warm months because you don't have as much kind of limitations versus if you had a baby like in the winter. Okay. So hence why we kind of intentionally and then kind of unintentionally pick the time frame for me to get pregnant. It all worked out. Then my birthday is also in the summer. I am a July baby. So we went to Puerto Rico for my birthday. So Bryce was out here. Okay. He was traveling. He was getting, okay, a little look of the world real quick. And then school began to start. And that's when I actually took my maternity leave. So I work in a school and I did come back to work literally ASAP, kind of in the end of June. I went back to work and I took my maternity leave officially in September. And I did that for a few different reasons. The main reason was to optimize as much as possible me being able to enjoy my maternity leave and set myself up for success just with the workload that I do have in my current job role. And then also wanting to make sure that it made sense just for our family dynamic. Postpartum and having a lot of leave this time around was such a blessing. I never experienced that. With my first two oldest, I was in a job during that time that I did not have as much leave. So I kind of had to come back pretty quick. And then also, it was just a different time frame. So this time around, I had more leave. I was more structured. I knew what to expect. So I prepared in a better manner. And I didn't realize how much fear I was wrestling with during that time. if you've ever had a child before and gone through postpartum, you know there's just a lot happening. Your hormones are trying to regulate, your body is trying to regulate, you're trying to learn and process this new bundle of joy. There's so many things changing and happening all at the same time. And there were a few things that I was dealing with and did not quite know that I was dealing with until things began to happen. And one thing that I realized that I was dealing with was honestly not truly resting and enjoying the moment. I was so anxious most of my maternity leave because I, one, was not able to fully not work. I was still working, even though, yes, I was on leave, but because of my job, it was hard for me to not work at all. And so I was constantly like battling with myself on, okay, I need to check some emails, I need to make sure I do this for work, but then having mom guilt because I was like, I need to spend time with my baby. Like, this time is so precious and it's not going to last. So I was constantly fighting myself. Mom guilt is real. And I was pretty sad and frustrated for a while because I'm like, why can't I just allow myself to have this break? I literally could not. I I don't care how much I kept on saying, okay, I'm going to only do this for a little bit, or I'm not going to do anything this week. My brain was constantly still working. And so I really had to be intentional and force myself to set boundaries. So, a few boundaries I had to set to make sure that, for one, I was not going crazy and that I was doing the best that I could to enjoy spending this time with my son and enjoying my leave. Was I had to set a schedule and say, you know what, I'm only doing work or answering emails or doing anything one day out the week. Now that worked literally for maybe a week or so because it was tough. Like, it was so hard. And then even with that, so many people were still calling me and texting me. And I literally I had to start saying no. No, like absolutely not. And my mom and I had a few coworkers, they was like, girl, what are you doing? Set your boundaries. And I said, you're right, you're right. So I started saying no. I started saying no. I started delegating certain things that I knew were just non-negotiable that I was not going to work on during that time. So that helped. And so mentally I was starting to feel a little better and a little clearer because I was just feeling so overwhelmed with thinking about all the work that had to be done and then what it was going to look like when I returned to work, and just how kind of like the work was just going to pile up. And then there was coming to a space of me knowing that the maternity leave was coming to an end. So then I also was just kind of becoming angry and scared and praying to God, like, God, what is next? I honestly believed and hoped and was praying that during the season of maternity leave that a job was going to open up, that I was going to be able to work from home. And that was what I was seeking God for, like a way that I did not have to physically go back to work, but I can stay home with my baby. Because honestly, I could not fathom going back to work so soon. And I was struggling, like I was struggling so bad. And I just kept on thinking of, well, what's going to happen, what I'm going to do. And mind you, I was putting all of this on myself. I am married, okay? I have a husband. I'm not doing this alone. I do not parent alone. It is not that type of dynamic. But me being the mom, I was putting all the pressure on myself. And I was just feeling like I had to figure it out alone. And I kept on praying and seeking God. And I'm like, God, help me. I don't know how to let this weight go. I don't know how to release this and just give this burden over to you and not worry. I was worried about everything. Who was going to watch them? How was we going to afford it if we had to put them in daycare? What was going to then happen with all the things that now that I'm desiring to do or God is calling me to? How was I going to balance and handle it all? I was now just in the reality of I have three children. They all have different things going on. They're older. We have sports and after school activities and, just workload and all the things. My husband runs a business. Then I was starting to do more things on social media. So then that started increasing, me trying to create content and editing and posting and all the things. And I was just so fearful that all these things that I desired, I would not be able to handle. Have you ever been there? Like, God is gracing you with something, and you're like, it's just too heavy. I'm not going to be able to carry it. And that's what I was doing. And over the course of time, I literally had to say, I can't do this. I had a talk with my supervisor shortly before I was coming back to work. And I was like, look, mentally, I'm just not there. I need to slowly walk myself back into my routine. I'm having some anxiety around leaving my son and going back to work full time. I just can't fathom being in that space. I can't handle it. And I have to be honest. And that was something that also turned a corner. Being honest and telling someone that I was not okay made a difference in how I accepted the situation I was in, and it no longer felt like I was carrying the weight alone. Also, in that I had to give up trying to have control over everything. I have a spirit of trying to control everything, and it's hard when you can't control those things. I was applying for all the jobs. I was doing all the things I thought that I should have been doing, could have been doing to change the result of me going back to work so soon. I was extending my leave. I was supposed to go back in December. I didn't go back until February. Like, I was doing all the things I possibly could do, and it did not pan out the way that I desired. And God constantly kept whispering and showing me that I was not allowing him to lead. I was not truly releasing it and giving over to him. I was praying and asking, like, God, please help me. I need help. I don't know what to do. But was I doing it? Absolutely not. I was not turning it over to him. But then also, God began to show me that my situation with my job was bigger than me just not wanting to go back to work. It was also me being fearful of new challenges and accepting that I was called to do more. And I have been saying for years, when it comes to my career, I no longer desired a career. I don't want to work hard. I just want to make enough money to live and survive, take care of my family. And God was like, you got to get out of that mediocre mindset and being too complacent and not willing to grow. And I was honestly thinking, oh, I'm just trying to be free. I don't want no job, keeping me bound and hindered. And that was the mindset that I had. And I thought that was what it was. And then God began to show me that actually I was fearful of more. I was fearful of more responsibility, more challenges, learning new things, discovering, what else I can do because I didn't understand what could be next if I can handle it, if it was something that I would be good at. Now, I am definitely, unfortunately, guilty. If I'm not good at something, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. If I am not good at it, just take me out the equation. And God said, excuse me, there's going to always be something challenging and hard. You can't grow in me and be my daughter and don't want more for yourself and don't be willing to take on the hard things. You have to do hard things. And so in this, you know, season now, here I am, 10 postpartum, and I am seeing the sun again. I am feeling good again about my ability and feeling stronger with the idea that I can do hard things. I am now open and welcoming new challenges, and I'm applying for those jobs where I'm like, that could be too much work. Oh no, I don't want too much. I'm applying for those. And God is like, you are designed for more. You can do more. I have been
So
enjoying being with my son and knowing that mommy can do more, but mommy can also still love and be a great mom. And I was scared that I would not be a good mom if I was doing great at my job. I thought that I had to choose. I didn't think I could handle both. And every day, God is showing me and reminding me how skillful He has built me, how strong I really am, and how mighty I can be if I truly just let go and release to Him. And I am learning that. I just want to encourage any mom out there who's also struggling with being able to handle all the things that God has blessed you with. You're struggling with maintaining, motherhood, your relationships with friendships, your marriage, serving the church, maybe you want to build a business, your career, and you're just trying to figure out how can I continue to be good at all these things? How can I still serve and help and build in all these areas? You can do it, but you have to first surrender it to God and truly surrender it to God. And that's what I'm learning, and that's what I'm doing. And I will continue to share how this is going, but it has been beautiful releasing this and stepping into this new season and being bold to say, I can do more and I'm going to do more. I'm open for more. So that's what I learned so far. I will be sharing more about my postpartum journey and my pregnancy story. My God, that is a testimony in itself. But that's all I have for you this week. I pray that this bless you. Make sure you share, like, subscribe, all the good things. And I will see you guys next week. Bye.